Chapter 751. It is a matter of getting used to it. At the sight of the usually uninhibited Shi Qing revealing a sense of panic, although Qiao Dongliang was not very sure of what was happening, he nodded. Fine, come in and help me wash the vegetables. Zai Shen, watch television on your own. You don't need me to entertain you, right? Sensing that Qiao Dongliang sounded a little sour in his last few words, Zai Shen gave a nod. He then took the remote controller, switched on the television, and lowered the volume. We're one family. Uncle Qiao, don't need to be so polite. Let me know if you need my help with anything. If Shi Qing did not enter the kitchen, Zai Shen would surely show his filial piety and try to improve his father-in-law's impression of him. However, Shi Qing was a step quicker than him in stepping into the kitchen. Hence, it was no longer appropriate for Zai Shen to do that. He might as well remain in the living room to watch television so that there was no reason to pick on him. Qiao Nan was keeping Miao Jing company and listening to the latter's woes. Miao Jing said that Zai Hua was not sensible and Wei De was not presentable. On the other hand, Shi Qing was carefully threading and following behind Qiao Dongliang to avoid being alone with Zai Shen, whereby she would feel uneasy. Soon after, 1 hour had passed and Shi Peng was back home, bringing some food with him. Zai Shen, you're here. Zai Shen could not hide his thoughts from Shi Peng. Hence, he did not need to put up any pretense in front of Shi Peng at all. It's not strange that I'm here. I have to keep a tighter rein on my wife. You don't have confidence anymore. Hearing this, Shi Peng felt that it was so rare. Since the first day he met Zai Shen was such a blessed child. Hence, he was so proud. Although he did not look extremely snobbish on the outside, that cold and aloof look in his eyes distanced him from others and exuded a sense of nonchalance. He was indifferent to others. Hence, it was rare that Zai Shen would be so concerned about someone. Shi Peng could not help feeling that this was hard to come by. That's because I didn't meet someone that I liked previously. Zai Shen did not have any sense of embarrassment at all. He seemed so frank and fearless. Nan Nan is very good. I like her very much. If I let Nan Nan slip away, I most likely can only be a monk in this life. Precisely, it was because she was the only one. There would be something wrong with his brain if he did not keep a tighter watch. Zai Shen looked so decent as he was saying these mushy words. Shi Peng shivered and had goosebumps all over. The more Shi Peng was affected, the more enthusiastic Zai Shen was. He was sitting in a relaxed manner. Zai Hua is muddle-headed now. She found someone that could not make it. So, the Zai family has to depend on me for the next generation. Without Nan Nan, this mother, it's useless with just me, the father, alone. Enough. The corners of Shi Peng's mouth stiffened and curved. I'm your master, not Qiao Nan. Leave these words for Qiao Nan. If you're not my master, I couldn't even be bothered to tell you these. This is to make sure that you're clear about Nan Nan's importance to me. It's also to let Shi Qing understand the situation. Shi Qing has to be in the same school as Nan Nan when they apply for admission to college. They could be in a different course or major, but they had to be in the same college and in the same location. Shi Peng immediately spat out that mouthful of water that he had just drunk. Why are you so confident that Qing Qing and I will definitely agree to this unreasonable request of yours? Zai Shen was smiling with certainty. Didn't Shi Qing grow up much when she's with Nan Nan? But it's still not enough, right? Don't tell me you don't have such plans. We're master and disciple. I may not be able to guess other people's thoughts, but I'm still able to guess that of yours. Nevertheless, out of the traditional virtue of respect for master, I don't mind bringing this matter up first to let master have a way out. Take it that I, your disciple, am asking you for a favor. Shi Peng was both angry and pleased. He was pleased that Zai Shen, this disciple, was truly outstanding. He was the best amongst all the soldiers that he had taken under his wing. There was no other like him. Undeniably, Shi Peng did have such intentions. Qiao Nan's grades were good and his family's Qing's grades were on par as well. Given the situation of the two ladies, it was not difficult for them to be admitted to the same college but study different courses and majors. Anyway, a good college offered much flexibility in the selection of courses and majors. This intention was not forced and not hard to realize. Shi Peng had been considering for some time the most suitable college that was in accordance with the two children's interests and future careers. At this juncture, Shi Peng already had an answer in his heart. We've been master and disciple for years. I think we do have this little bit of chemistry. Zai Sheng gave a toast to Shi Peng with the cup of water in his hands. I guess so. Shi Peng returned the toast to Zai Sheng, implying that he agreed with Zai Sheng's words. The reason he let his daughter follow Qiao Nan closely was to let her learn more from Qiao Nan. Zai Sheng wanted Shi Peng's daughter to be admitted to the same college as Qiao Nan as he wanted her to help keep a watch on Qiao Nan. This was in case there were too many wolves that were similar to him at college. If there were any hiccups, Qiao Nan would be taken away by another wolf. At that time, just as what Zai Sheng had said just now, he would have to be a monk for life. This was the disciple that he liked most and was proudest of. Shi Peng felt that he had to do Zai Sheng this favor. Anyway, Qing did not have the slightest feelings for Zai Sheng anymore. Qing would not feel troubled at all to help keep a watch on Qiao Nan on behalf of Zai Sheng. Most likely, without their conversation, given how much Qing liked Qiao Nan, she might even take the initiative to do that. When Qiao Nan and you are really married, remember that you owe my family's Qing a big red packet. She can't do this for you for nothing. Shi Peng spoke out to request for benefits for Shi Qing. This is not an issue. When Shi Qing has decided about her future career path, I will certainly not refuse to help her as long as it's within my means. The day that Nan and I get married, the big red packet will not be missing. At most, we'll double the amount. Settled. There was a red packet. The talks were easier. Qiao Dongliang and Shi Qing, who were bringing the dishes out, were speechless with anger once again. In particular, Qiao Dongliang's face turned green, as if he had stepped on dog poop. He, the father, had not even spoken out about who his daughter was going to marry in the future. Why did these two outsiders have to make the decision first? If he could do so, Qiao Dongliang wanted to chase not only Zai Sheng but also Shi Peng out of the house. All of them did not have any self-awareness at all. Shi Qing, who had been abandoned, consoled Qiao Dongliang with empathy. Uncle Qiao, don't be angry. You'll be fine after getting used to it. She, too, was not aware that the college entrance examination had yet to commence, but there was already a direction in her college studies. She only had one direction, Qiao Nan. Qiao Dongliang was quietly angry as he let out a sigh. He was holding himself back from splashing the plates of cooked dishes on those two outsiders. You're used to it? Could one be used to this kind of thing? Chapter 752. Can you give me some face? I have to get used to it even if I don't want to. Shi Qing smiled bitterly. She had a cunning father and Uncle Qiao had the shrewdest future son-in-law ever. They were in the same boat. Not used to it? It would not do. Aren't you angry? Shi Qing had to follow Nan's decision in opting for a college. This was not fair to Shi Qing. He doubted what kind of father Shi Peng was. Shi Qing shrugged. Not really. Shi Qing was still receptive to this. She was not going to major in some niche areas. Her grades would enable her to get into the same college as Qiao Nan. Moreover, she would certainly be able to choose a major that was suitable for her. If Qiao Nan was to attend some unknown college, of course, she would not be so agreeable then. It's tough on you. Qiao Dongliang felt unjustified for Shi Qing. The selection of college was such an important matter. How could he let his own daughter go with the expectations of someone else's daughter? Uncle Chiao, if you feel that I'm shortchanged, prepare more nice food for me. Most probably, I would have starved to death if I just mixed around with my dad. Shi Qing took the opportunity to put up her request to Chiao Dongliang. Chiao Nan needed to nourish her health, and so did she. Chiao Dongliang quietly took a glance at Shi Qing, whose tummy had apparently become rounder after spending her Lunar New Year at Mo. Du Shi Qing, if you have a need for it, I can do that too. However, he had been hearing from others recently that women love to look pretty and always wanted to lose weight. Compared to last year, Shi Qing seemed to have put on a round of weight. Did she really want to have more nourishment? Uncle Chiao, let's bring the dishes out. It's almost time. I'll ask Xiao Nan to come out for dinner. Shi Qing expressed that if they were to allow those two to continue chatting, more shocking topics might come out of the conversation. Xiao Nan, the dishes are ready. Can Auntie Miao and you come out to have your meal? Miao Jing, who had been interrupted, did not look too happy. After having a long chat with Xiao Nan, Miao Jing increasingly could not understand why her own daughter was so outstanding yet so blind and took a liking to someone like Wei De. Even when she was farming in the countryside in the past, she would not accept someone like Wei De as well. Miao Jing had repeated to Xiao Nan many times that she felt uneasy all over at the sight of Wei De. She did not feel assured and could not feel the sense of integrity that a soldier should have from Wei De. If not for the fact that she was an outsider, and it was not appropriate for her to speak too much about this, Xiao Nan wanted to express that she felt the same way as Miao Jing when she was with Wei De. Wei De did not even seem to possess the sense of integrity of an ordinary man, let alone the sense of righteousness belonging to a soldier. Just based on what happened 6 months ago, when Wei De caused a platoon leader who had a bright future to lose one of his legs because of Wei De's own selfishness, it was sufficient to tell his selfish nature. He would utilize all means and tricks to achieve his objective and had no qualms about sacrificing the interests of others at all. Auntie Miao, even if you're not hungry, should we get some water? It's my fault that I have not hosted you properly. After you came in for so long, I didn't even get you a cup of water. Actually, it was not that Xiao Nan did not want to get Miao Jing some water. Hearing so much from Miao Jing, she had wanted to get up a few times to get Miao Jing some water. It was just that Miao Jing had been holding Xiao Nan back and did not allow her to leave as she was anxious to confide in Xiao Nan about Zai Hua and Wei De's matter. That's true. Miao Jing smacked her mouth and felt that it was very dry. Moreover, if she was not leaving the room, the hosts might feel embarrassed to start eating even if they were hungry. Fine, let's go out. Madam Zai. When he saw Miao Jing, Shi Peng smiled and greeted her. Director Shi. Miao Jing was very polite and respectful toward Shi Peng. She was well aware how Shi Peng took care of and nurtured Zai Sheng. 2 years ago, Shi Peng was an important factor why Miao Jing would acknowledge Qiu Chenxi as her daughter-in-law. Initially, when the agreement between the two families was called off, Miao Jing was even worried that Shi Peng would pay a visit to the Zai family and reprimand the Zai family for repaying kindness with injustice. She was afraid that he would accuse them of kicking someone to the curb after they'd outlived their usefulness, or that he would stack the deck against Zai Sheng in the army in the future. So, fortunately, none of these things happened. Hence, Miao Jing appeared more natural when she met Shi Peng again. At the sight of Miao Jing sitting down, Shi Peng smiled. The meals in the Chiao family are very delicious, right? It's not bad. Miao Jing did not deny. The two of them understood in their hearts that they were not referring to the taste but the atmosphere. Of course, this kind of atmosphere would only be present when Ding Jiyi and Xiao Zijin were not around. Auntie Miao, Brother Zai, have your meal. Xiao Nan had taken out the bowls of rice and placed them before the respective individuals. The phone in the house of the Qiao family rang. At this juncture, everyone was looking at the phone. Besides Qiao Dongliang, everyone else, especially Miao Jing, was wearing a strange expression on their faces. SV. When everyone's gaze was still and focused on the phone, Qiaonan calmly stood up. She walked over and picked up the phone. Hello, good day. This is the Qiao family. Qiaonan, it's me. Zai Hua. Sister Zai Hua. Are my mom and Zai Sheng at your house? Yes. Weida is driving and is on his way to fetch them. I hope you can let Zai Sheng and my mom come home. Qiaonan raised her brows. Sister Zai Hua, I didn't stop Auntie Miao and brother Zai. Zai Hua took a deep breath. She was confused by fury today. She had forgotten that although Qiaonan looked soft and tender, she was never a lump of flour that would not retaliate if she were bullied or rolled around by others. Sorry, I didn't make myself clear. No, there's something wrong with the way I expressed myself. Qiaonan, can you do me a favor? Can you help persuade my mom and Zai Sheng to come back? Nam. This was the first time that Weida came to her house and had a meal. When lunch commenced, her mother and Zai Sheng did not eat anything. 1 hour after lunch, Weida had wanted to greet her mother and pass her some gifts to show his appreciation, but her mother immediately shouted for Zai Sheng to send her to the house of their relatives, saying that it was a pre-arranged date. The Zai family did not have so many relatives in Pingcheng. Wasn't her mother going to the house of the Qiao family? This was the first time Weida visited them for a meal, yet her mother and Zai Sheng left for the house of the Qiao family. Wasn't it clear that they did not wish to see Weida and did not accept Weida? When Miao Jing and Zai Sheng left, Zai Hua felt extremely embarrassed. She was really afraid that Weida would simply leave out of anger. Fortunately, Weida was not angry. He even sat down and chatted with her father in a harmonious manner. He even stayed for dinner so that everyone could have a meal together. Seeing that it was almost dinner time and Miao Jing and Zai Sheng did not seem to be coming back, Zai Hua quickly gave Qiaonan a call. Moreover, Weida was already driving the four-wheeled car that he had bought on his own to fetch Miao Jing and Zai Sheng. This is the first meal that Weida will be having with our family. Can you do me a favor and give me some face? Chapter 753 Get married by 30 years old. Weida is quite good. He has been putting in efforts and working very hard for my sake. Today's meal was a form of affirmation for Weida's hard work all this while. Her family should give her and Weida some face by having this meal. Sister Zai Hua, do you think they could be persuaded to go home? Others can't do it but you can, Zai Hua said this with certainty. Sister Zai Hua, firstly, I don't think I have the capability to do so. Secondly, if I can do it and I do persuade them to do so, do you think Auntie Miao and Brother Zai deserve this? You're asking me to make use of their trust in me to force them to do something that's against their wishes. Sister Zai Hua, no wonder Auntie Miao and Brother Zai are not willing to go back. You're forcing one to do things that they're not willing to. Don't sound so bold and righteous about it. Qiaonan did not feel pleased or complacent by Zai Hua's words at all. She also did not forget who she was and thus did not poke her nose into the affairs of the Zai family. Regardless of the conflict in the Zai family, it was not appropriate for her to intervene or speak out about this matter. I'm not, Zai Hua was at a loss for words. I'm asking you for a favor. Sister Zai Hua, if you put it this way, I really don't know what to say. Since you're asking me for a favor, I have the right to reject it. Auntie Miao is your biological mother and Brother Zai is your biological younger brother. You're on much closer terms with them. If these are your thoughts, I can pass the phone to them and let them listen to you so that you can speak to them directly. What do you say? There was a difference between next of kin and outsiders. What Sister Zai Hua said was reversed. Zai Hua gave a sigh. In terms of eloquence, she was completely not Qiaonan's match. Moreover, Qiaonan said it with such logic and reasoning that Zai Hua could not retort her. All right, pass the phone to Zai Sheng. I'll talk to him. Will that do? Okay. Xiao Nan, who washed her hands off this matter, was very pleased. She shot Zai Sheng a glance and lifted the phone. Zai Sheng naturally walked over and took over the phone from Xiao Nan. The familiarity of their actions resembled that of a couple who had been living together, as if they were well aware of and used to each other's habits. When Miao Jing first saw this, she was momentarily stunned. At the sight of Miao Jing, Shi Qing's heart quivered. Was Auntie Miao going to discover it? Xiao Nan and Brother Zai were too daring. Auntie Miao was alive and kicking before them, and the two of them dared to display such chemistry through their actions. It was hard for sharp-eyed individuals not to discover what was happening between Xiao Nan and Brother Zai. Shi Qing quietly observed Miao Jing's reactions. This was in case Miao Jing went mad all of a sudden and the situation became out of control. Miao Jing was definitely stunned for a moment, but she was smiling thereafter. Nan Nan and Zai Sheng get along quite well. They seem more like a family than when Zai Sheng is together with Hua Hua. The other three people in the room who were seated looked dumbstruck. Shi Peng was having difficulty swallowing the rice in his mouth. He very much doubted how slow Miao Jing could be regarding the matter about Xiao Nan and Zai Sheng. This wife that Zai Yawai married was simply amazing. Uncle Xiao, have some water. Shi Qing poured a cup of water for Xiao Dongliang, in case Xiao Dongliang choked when he was taken aback by Miao Jing's words. It was also good that Auntie Miao did not discover anything odd, in case she kicked up a fuss. Xiao Dongliang's face was swollen and red. He drank a huge mouthful of water before he could swallow the rice in his throat. Cough, cough, cough. Nearly. He was nearly choked to death by that mouthful of rice. Madame Zai was truly very, very humorous. At the thought that Miao Jing was not aware of Xiao Nan and Zai Sheng's relationship and that these two kids had to behave in this way in front of Miao Jing, Xiao Dongliang felt his head ache. He was at a loss of what to do. Hello. It's me. Then. Zai Hua had a lump in her throat and she was speechless for a moment. Don't go overboard. Why are you speaking in the same tone as Xiao Nan? With the situation today, what could be the reason for her calling Zai Sheng? Why were there so many then? Quickly bring Mom back. We're waiting for you all to have our meal. Mom is already having her meal. Also, Mom said that she won't go back if Wada is there. She feels that you're right when you told her that she should not force herself and make herself unhappy when she meets someone that she doesn't like. She can't chase people out. So she'll leave the house to avoid them. Hence, Mom went out. These were Zai Hua's advice to his mother previously. Zai Hua's lungs were in pain due to anger. It's not the same. I advised Mom earlier because it's Chuchen Xi. But Wada was the one who came today. Is there a difference between Wada and Chuchen Xi? One is a female partner, and the other is a male partner that has not been confirmed. Can you take it that you're giving me face and doing me a favor? Mom has not even interacted with Wada. Her impression of Wada is only on the surface. As long as Mom interacts more with him and knows him better, she will definitely accept Wada. However, prior to this, Mom has to try to accept Wada and let Wada have an opportunity to prove himself. Isn't it too unfair for Wada if we reject Wada thoroughly because of an initial impression that is superficial? She and Wada did not expect too much. She further believed that her mother would know what kind of person Wada was and would be willing to accept him as long as she was willing to chat a little more with him. Zai Sheng, Mom rejects Wada from the bottom of her heart now. I'm your only sister. Don't you wish for my happiness? Give us one chance. You're also giving yourself a chance. Zai Sheng fell silent for a moment. Of course, it was not that he was swayed by Zai Hua's words. It's not possible for us to go back for dinner. When Mom knew that you're going to bring Wada home today, she was so angry that she did not eat anything yesterday. Even if you want Mom to accept Wada, You can't possibly let mom starve until her health suffers due to agitation before that happens, right? After finishing the meal, I'll bring mom back earlier. Also, give Wade a call and ask him to go back. Don't let him come to the house of the Jiao family to fetch us. Of course, if you're not afraid of causing more unhappiness to mom and increasing her dislike for Wade, and you can do as you wish. I know. Zai Hua continued anxiously. I just gave a call to Wade and asked him to come back. Dad has a good sense of judgment of character. How was it? If Wade is as good as what you said, did Dad open his mouth and address Wade as Xiao Wei after interacting with him for some time? There are times when a tiger takes his naps too. No matter how good Dad's judgment is, he will also occasionally make mistakes. Time will prove everything. I believe that you will definitely accept the fact that I'm together with Wade. Wade did not rely on anyone to start from scratch and achieve the success he had today all by himself. She was aware of Wade's ability and diligence. She did not believe that the love between Wade and her could not move the hearts of her family. At the thought that she was almost 30 years old, Zai Hua expressed that she must get married to Wade before 30 and then give birth to Wade's child to please her mother-in-law. Chapter 754 Shamed. After hanging up the phone, Zai Sheng returned to his seat. He picked up his bowl of rice and resumed eating. Miao Jing could no longer hold herself back. What did Hua say? Has that Wade left? No, he wants to stay at home for dinner. We'll go back at around 6:30 later. Miao Jing frowned. Reluctance was written all over her face. There are 2 beds in Nan Nan's room. Can I not go back? It was not like she had not slept over at the house of the Jiao family before. There should not be any issue. Mom. Zai Sheng only said it once and Miao Jing did not protest further. However, also because of Zai Sheng's words, Miao Jing took her time to finish the remaining half bowl of rice. She nearly placed the grains of rice into her mouth one by one. While Miao Jing and Zai Sheng were having their meals, Wade, who was determined to bring out his utmost sincerity to move Miao Jing, was driving and on his way to fetch them. In the midst of the journey, he received Zai Hua's call to request him to go back, saying that Zai Sheng would send Miao Jing back. Because of this phone call, Wade drove his car to the roadside and stopped there for a long time. It was only when a loud vulgarity could be heard from the car that the car started to move again. This time, instead of the house of the Jiao family, it headed back to the direction where it came from. Dad, have some tea. In the Zai family's residence, Zai Hua looked at Zai Yaowai with unease. Zai Yaowai stayed behind today, but his attitude toward Wade was indifferent. Zai Hua was aware of the truth that her father did not like Wade. It was just that he did not make it so obvious. Dad, Wade. Just as Zai Hua said this word, Zai Yaowai put down the cup in his hands and looked at Zai Hua in a serious and solemn manner. Zai Hua, do you really think that the Zai family can accept a soldier who sold his comrade out? Although he is a former soldier. No, no. He didn't sell him out. It was too severe to term it as such. Then, he deliberately harmed him. That's just an accident. Wade didn't do it on purpose, Zai Hua said in an awkward manner. The end of Zai Yaowai's brows curved. I've said before that I've never accepted this kind of explanation. You're willing to fool yourself and others with such a reason, but our Zai family and others are not willing to accept it. Last year's matter created a lot of commotion and Wade was even expelled by the army. I know your temper and that's why I didn't express my views regarding Wade and you. You then tried your luck and held the belief that I'd quietly approve Wade, like what I did to Jiaonan. However, I can tell you with certainty today that Wade's character is flawed. You're an adult and have the right to choose. If you really want to be together with Wade, I won't stop you. This is your life. You will bear the responsibility regardless of whether the outcome is good or bad. Your mom and I have fulfilled our responsibility toward you. Even if we did not, we have also missed the time to do so. In his heart, Zai Yewei felt guilty toward Zai Hua, this daughter. The Zai family usually had more sons than daughters. It was rare that they had a daughter and they should dote on her well. However, for the sake of the country and the army, he had been traveling and away from home most of the time. Hence, he and Miao Miao simply dumped their 2 children to his father to take care of. He did not let down his country, the army, the party, and the citizens. However, he had let down his 2 children. Dad, upon hearing Zai Yewei, unknowingly, Zai Hua's heart was filled with panic. Don't be anxious. Finish listening to me first. If you really wish to be together with Weida, I will respect your decision, but I will not agree with it. You can treat Weida as your husband, but don't expect me to treat Weida as my son-in-law. This person will never receive our approval. You're wasting your time in all that you've done today. You'd only increase Weida's resentment toward the Zai family. Last year, Weida was bent on rising in the ranks to become a company commander before asking us for your hand in marriage. Is promotion or marriage more important to him? To each their own. Undeniably, he placed great importance in his army career. He committed a mistake but did not receive the protection of the Zai family. He had been expelled. What would he think of the Zai family? No, it won't. Dad, you're being paranoid. When he left the army last year, Weida told me that he, in fact, was aware that this matter was his fault. He had let down that platoon leader and felt very sorry toward our family too. As for the resentment that you mentioned, how could Weida feel resentful toward the Zai family? Clearly, whenever Weida mentioned the Zai family, he was full of hope and wholeheartedly wanted to be one of the family members. Zai Yewei gave a gentle yet mocking smile. If you're willing to believe his words, so be it. Zai Hua, you have to remember, I won't change your choice. Similarly, your thoughts can't influence the perceptions of others. It had been too smooth sailing for Hua Hua in her life. Although she was a lady that was reaching 30 years of age, she had too little experience in society. He had to pay back what he owed. He did not teach Hua Hua when she was a child and she was almost 30 years old now. He now had the chance to teach Hua Hua under such circumstances. Undoubtedly, Weida and Hua Hua would either not fall, or if they were to fall, they would be badly bashed and battered. If the lesson was not hard enough, it was only fearful that Hua Hua would not remember it for life. Zai Hua gave a grim smile. With her father's words, she did not even have an excuse or reason to flare up or argue to fight for Weida. Zai Yewei had already made himself so clear. He did not object to, but he would never support this matter. If Zai Hua really wanted to get married to Weida, he would not say no. However, to outsiders, Zai Hua could forget about asking Zai Yewei to acknowledge Weida as his son-in-law. This was an important matter of a lifetime. Regardless of how strong-tempered Zai Hua was, she also wished for her family's support and sincere blessings. Moving forward, if the Zai family would not admit Weida's identity as the son-in-law of the Zai family, then this marriage would not be meaningful at all. The calmer Zai Yewei was, the more Zai Hua had no means to counter. If she were to make this big with Zai Yewei, this would only put Weida in a more difficult position in the Zai family. Moreover, Zai Hua would not be able to stand firm on her grounds too. Just as Zai Sheng said all the time, Zai Yewei was an old and cunning fox. Zai Yewei had never been soft in dealing with others. Now, he had to deal with his biological daughter and a stranger that he did not approve of. This was basically a piece of cake for Zai Yewei. Zai Hua was not half as capable as Zai Sheng. In front of Zai Yewei, she had nothing worthy of display. At this moment, the sound of a car engine being turned off could be heard coming from the entrance. At this time, Weida was the only one who could possibly be back now. Although Zai Hua still wished to help Weida, she could only shut up obediently at this moment. Zai Yewei quietly took a glance at his watch. He realized that compared to the usual timing, Wada was late by 10 minutes. It seemed that Wada had been infuriated because Zai Shen did not allow him to fetch them. He thus found a place to calm himself down. In the end, he only had so much endurance. Old Chief, Hua, I'm back. Chapter 755. Let's see who is more anxious. Wada was full of smiles as he held the keys in his hands. He sounded even more amiable. Sorry to have kept the two of you waiting for so long. Old Chief, you must be hungry. Why don't we have our meal first? Let Auntie serve the dishes. Toward this, Zai Yawai did not intend to make things difficult for Wada at all. Hearing Zai Yawai speak, Zai Hua let out a sigh of relief. It's already so late. Let's quickly have our dinner. After all, there were only 3 people having a meal in the Zai family tonight. The family did not have the habit of wasting food. Hence, the dishes prepared were very ordinary and commonplace. Soon after, the auntie brought out 3 dishes and 1 soup to the table. At the sight of these 3 dishes and 1 soup, Wada was full of disdain. He had not been doing business for a long time. 1 year had not even passed. However, since he started doing business, he had not taken any food that was worse than this. This was the home of the prominent old chief, yet the dishes were so distasteful. They were just a little better than that of his home in the countryside. It was so shabby. Did they want to use such means to force him to stay away from the Zai family? Did they treat him as a young lad that had not seen the world? The more the Zai family utilized such means against him and underestimated him, the more he had to persist. He wanted to let the Zai family see the sincerity and determination that he had toward Zai Hua. He did not believe that he would not receive approval from the Zai family in his lifetime. He was a man. He could drag his feet but not Zai Hua. Zai Hua was almost 30 years old now. If the Zai family was not anxious, he would not be anxious either. When Zai Hua was 40, 50, or even 60 years old, he wanted to see if the Zai family would be anxious. When Zai Hua was so old that she could not even give birth to a child, the Zai family could then wait for Zai Hua to feel resentful toward them. Old Chief, eat more. The resentment in Wada's heart was now as deep as that of a scorned woman. Nevertheless, the smile on his face was still as sunny and bright as the April sun. Help yourself. Zai Yawai was not willing to accept the dishes that Wada picked up for him at all. It was all thanks to Zai Hua that he could have a meal at the same table with Zai Yawai. Only someone as shameless as Wada could still act as though he was very close with the Zai family. He was so enthusiastic and affectionate. At the sight of Wada fawning on her father despite the latter's cold shoulders, all of a sudden, Zai Hua was torn. Should she feel bad for Wada or should she feel bizarre by his capability of acting dumb and completely ignorant of others' feelings? The stance of the Zai family was too obvious. Zai Hua could not find any excuse for their behaviors even if she wanted to. Nevertheless, without any consolation, Wada could still continue to behave as if the Zai family was his in-laws. After some time, Zai Hua sighed as she felt disheartened. Clearly, the Jiaonan that Zai Sheng had found was not any better. Her parents also felt revulsion toward her on a few occasions. Why was it that her parents' attitudes were not so detestable during their interactions with Jiaonan? When this much delayed dinner ended, Wada had finished about 3 cups of tea before Zai Sheng finally brought Miao Jing home. At the sight of Wada still at her home, the corners of Miao Jing's mouth drooped. Madam Zai, Regiment Commander Zai, you're back. At the sight of the two of them, Wada was full of smiles. He courteously and respectfully stood up to welcome them. Zai Sheng pursed his lips and acknowledged coldly. That attitude was as though Wada was still an unknown junior soldier in his army. Those slanted eyes of his when he looked at Wada made the latter feel that he was looked down upon so much as if he was dust. Hua, you're too insensible. It's already so late and you still let Boss Wei stay in the house. Boss Wei is very busy with his business. His time is very precious. Miao Jing started to nag at Zai Hua. Boss Wei, sorry. Please excuse us. The address Boss Wei simply distanced Weida from the Zai family as far as it could. Upon hearing the address Boss Wei, Weida's expression did not change. Madam Zai, please don't say that. Hua Hua is a good woman. How would she not know? If she really doesn't, that means you've indulged her too much. There's too little time today and I did not even chat much with Madam Zai. I'm the one who has been impolite. It's late. I shall not disturb you. I'll visit you again next time. Miao Jing was pleased that Weida was willing to leave. She had dawdled for so long after dinner before making her way back as she wanted to see less of Weida. However, when she heard Weida saying that he would visit another time, Miao Jing's expression froze and it looked extremely ugly. Miao Jing's immediate change of expression made Weida feel that he was the victor for this round. This time, Weida gave the first and the most sincere smile that he had at the Zai family today. Old Chief, Madam Zai, Regiment Commander Zai, I won't disturb you further today. I'll see you again next time. I'll send you off. As a girlfriend, Zai Hua immediately stood up, caught up with, and followed Weida out. This is really, that genuine smile of Weida gave Miao Jing a great blow. Hua Hua has so many options. Why did she pick someone like that? If I had known that this would be the case, I would have forced Hua Hua to find a marriage partner when she was 25 years old. It has been so many years. I've introduced so many good men to her but she rejected them all. She did not want any of them. Now, she's already 28 years old and she brought back such a man. I'm going to be driven to an early grave. Which of those men whom she had arranged blind dates for Hua Hua with previously were not better than Weida? Hua Hua picked the bad ones instead of the good ones. Was Hua Hua's brain kicked by a donkey? We have expected this long ago. It's not surprising, right? Zai Yewei asked the auntie to make another cup of tea. However, Zai Sheng took it away before he could take a few sips. Nan Nan is right. Having too much tea will affect your sleep. His son had taken away his freshly brewed cup of tea. Zai Yewei did not insist. Nevertheless, he's young and aggressive and will lose his cool. That smile of his when he left made me feel more assured. I'm not afraid of other matters. I'm just afraid that he's too deep and scheming and Zai Hua will be coaxed and taken in by him for life. Since Weida is so sensitive and retaliates so easily upon provocation, there's always a chance to let Hua Hua see for herself clearly what kind of person he is. When will that be? Miao Jing was unconvinced. Don't forget that Hua Hua is already 28 years old this year. Weida and Hua Hua have been together for more than 1 or 2 years. When Hua Hua finds out what kind of person Weida is, she will already be 30 years old. What should we do? The daughter of Zai Yewei will worry about being left on the shelves. What a joke. There's certainly no hurry. Zai Sheng agreed with Zai Yewei's words. Miao Jing was angered by the words of the father-son pair. You're not women. What do you know? Women are different from men. A man can still make a woman pregnant when they are 50 or 60 years old. However, there's an age limit for a woman to give birth. After a certain age, she can't conceive anymore. Chapter 756 The daughter of the Zai family does not have to worry about marriage. Even if one becomes pregnant, it's considered advanced maternal age. The risks associated with pregnancy will be higher. After giving birth, she may not recover so easily. It's also easy to contract various ailments thereafter. In short, there were countless disadvantages to a woman who gave birth late. Regarding what Miao Jing said, Zai Yewei and Zai Sheng were certainly laymen in this aspect. After thinking, Zai Sheng said, first, most likely, Weida can't hide his true colors for that long. He almost couldn't contain himself today. Second, even if Zai Hua is 40 years old, I still have a way to let her get married, and even marry into a good family. The one thing that we need to do now is to kick Wei De out of Zihua's life as soon as possible in the 12 years before Zihua reaches 40 years old. Daughters of the Zai family did not need to worry about being left on the shelves. Age was not a concern. Even a second marriage was not a concern. The two of you. Forget it. You're so relaxed. Am I the only one who's being anxious for nothing? I'm going to bathe. Miao Jing, who was angered, went to the bedroom, panting heavily. As Miao Jing returned to the bedroom, Zai Yawai also retracted his steps and walked toward the room. Entering the room outright, Zai Sheng snorted. The old fox was quick in his actions. He was eventually able to return to his original bedroom. Zai Yawai turned his head and cast a cold look at Zai Sheng. If he did not even have such little capability, how could there possibly be Zai Hua and Zai Sheng today? The first visit by Wei De to the Zai family ended up with him parting unhappily. Having been through this experience and learned his lesson, Wei De was now aware that it was not the right time for him to join the Zai family. Anyway, Zai Hua loved him and was willing to wait for him. He was not anxious. He could focus on his business for the time being. When Zai Hua was over 30 years old, he would then pay another visit to the Zai family and assess their reactions. If the Zai family still did not welcome him, then he would visit them once every 5 years. In short, if the Zai family was not afraid that Zai Hua would be childless for life, there was nothing that he, Wei De, would be afraid of. Anyway, he already had a successor. The gathering between Wei De and the Zai family this time did not cause much commotion. On the contrary, something that happened to Qiao Nan next caught everyone off guard. In the blink of an eye, last year, Qiao Nan was still helping others to spot questions. This time, it was early July and it was Qiao Nan's turn to take the college entrance examination. Nan, don't feel anxious or nervous. Water, pens. Have you brought everything that you need? Today, Qiao Dongliang specifically applied for 2 days of leave from the factory to keep Qiao Nan company for the college entrance examination. Qiao Nan had already checked all these items before. Dad, don't worry. I won't feel nervous. On the contrary, why did her father seem more nervous than her? That's good then. Let's go. We'll be late if we don't leave now. We won't. At the sight of the wall clock that showed that it was not even 7 o'clock yet, Qiao Nan was puzzled too. Qiao Nan was quite lucky. Pingcheng High School was her examination hall. It would take only a 10-minute walk to reach Pingcheng High School from her house. When Qiao Nan arrived at school, there would be about half an hour's time left before they could enter the examination hall. Hence, how could she be late? This kind of thing, it's better to play safe as you can't afford a single mishap. What if there's a jam due to high human traffic? Qiao Dongliang asked. There shouldn't be too many people who take the route from our house to school. Hence, there won't be a jam. It was not the main road and it was already summer vacation. Besides the students, who were taking the college entrance examination, and employees, who would leave the house during this time. Wouldn't they be afraid of the heat from the sun? Have you brought along medicated oil? Nan suffered from some ailments during summer. Would she simply faint because it was too hot in the examination hall? Dad, have you forgotten? You have bought me a box of medicated oil just in case. If she did not stop him, her father might really want to put at least 5 bottles of medicated oil in her school bag. He looked as though he could not wait for her to bring the whole box of medicated oil along. She was going to take the college entrance examination and not sell medicated oil. Her father was really too exaggerating. It's always better to be prepared. All right, let's go to school. Qiao Nan did not feel nervous at all throughout the period leading to the college entrance examination. The rare thing was that the summer ailments that Qiao Nan suffered from seemed to have gone away during these few days. She did not have any issues with them at all. On the contrary, Xiao Dongliang had tossed and turned for an entire night yesterday because Xiao Nan had to take the college entrance examination today. He had not slept a wink. When it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he even got up to check on Xiao Nan. Fortunately, Xiao Nan suffered fewer summer ailments this year. If Xiao Nan did not get enough sleep due to the weather, Xiao Nan would jump in shock when Xiao Dongliang opened the door. When they left the house, they met Shi Qing, who came out alone. Shi Qing was holding a fitter in her mouth. So early? Xiao Nan, I thought that given your character, you will appear only about 20 minutes later. Given Xiao Nan's temperament, it was normal if she was still sleeping at this time. Shi Qing was not feeling nervous about the college entrance examination. However, she was a little excited. Hence, she woke up earlier today. Shi Peng was a father, but he was a director in Pingcheng now. He had been planning for the future developments of Pingcheng for the next few years. Hence, it was destined that he could not be like an ordinary father who could show more care and concern for his daughter during her college entrance examination. He could not keep his daughter company for so long. Initially, Shi Qing's mother should come and keep Shi Qing company at this time. The problem was that Shi Qing's grandmother was sick and hospitalized. Shi Qing's mother could only travel to the capital to take care of her biological mother, who was in the hospital. However, the family of Shi Qing's mother was unaware that, when she returned to the capital to take care of her biological mother, Shi Peng made use of some of his connections to change the location of his wife's job from Modu to the capital. In this way, his wife could remain in her maternal home in the capital and did not need to face the elderly Shi couple anymore. Shi Peng had not been acting in accordance with the wishes of Old Master Shi. Old Master Shi could not have his way with his only son, Shi Peng. Hence, more or less, he would vent his frustration on his daughter-in-law. Fortunately, Shi Peng had left the army. Also, Shi Qing's mother came from a good family background that had some power. Otherwise, Shi Qing's mother would not have it so easy. Even if that was the case, Shi Peng was not willing to let his wife suffer so much in the Shi family. If not for the sake of taking care of her in-laws, she could return to the capital and stay in her maternal home and be a rich man's daughter. Alternatively, she could follow him to Pingcheng. After all, both her husband and daughter were at Pingcheng. As a woman, she would certainly change her work location to accommodate these two most important people in her life. It was a pity that Old Master Shi did not know what was good for him. Through his good friends in Modu, Shi Peng received news that his wife had suffered much in Modu. Nevertheless, his wife did not voice out a single word of grievance to him each time he called her during this period, let alone complain to him. It was as if she had never suffered. Chapter 757 Happy Collaboration. He was already not a good husband. Of course, he could not let his wife continue to suffer badly. Nevertheless, it was Shi Peng who discussed and collaborated with his mother-in-law to feign the latter's illness at this point in time. They were keeping the truth from the Old Master Shi trio in Modu. Shi Peng even assured his mother-in-law and family that Shi Qing had been in excellent shape recently. There would certainly not be any problem with her college entrance examination. She was well prepared to get into the top-tier key university in the capital. His in-laws were then willing to cooperate with the son-in-law to put up with the pretense and cajole their daughter back. At the same time, their granddaughter learned how to be resilient and strive for excellence in life. During the preliminary examination, Shi Qing performed to her usual standards. However, as she was feeling excited today, she woke up a little earlier than usual. When she heard movements from the Jiao family, she came out to take a look. Xiao Dongliang gave a hard pat on his forehead. He was too anxious about Nan Nan earlier and simply forgot about Shi Qing's existence. Shi Qing, Nan Nan is ready. Are you ready? It's definitely better to be early than late. Shall we leave soon? Fortunately, Shi Qing was already having breakfast. It would be embarrassing if she was only brushing her teeth at this point in time. Fine, wait for me. I'll bring over my school bag. Xiqing did not think much. She finished her fritter in a few bites. She then brought over the school bag that Xi Peng personally prepared for her and ran over to Qiaonan. You woke up so early today. Ha ha ha. Qiaonan laughed. It was not that she woke up early. Obviously, her father had not slept for the whole night and woke her up at 6:20 a.m. Fortunately, she slept at 8 o'clock last night. As such, she had a full 8 hours of sleep. Otherwise, she would be the one feeling sullen now. Upon hearing Qiaonan's laughter, Xiqing sized up Qiao Dongliang. He looked flustered and bright-eyed and was in a more excited state of mind than Qiaonan, the party concerned. She then realized what was going on. Along the way, Qiaonan would have occasional discussions with Xiqing. Qiao Dongliang was behaving like a bodyguard throughout the journey. He was circling the two young ladies and staring around in an alert manner, in case a bicycle or something were to spring out and collide into Qiaonan or Xiqing. A pair of eyes that had returned to Pingcheng for some time since the start of the summer vacation was hiding in a dark spot, staring intensely at this scene. The intensity of her stare was as great as the pain in her heart at this moment. She was also having her college entrance examination during this time last year, but that person was not even so nervous. Perhaps he might have even forgotten about this matter. At the thought of this, there was an immediate bloodshot in the pair of eyes hidden in the dark spot, and red strings of blood were climbing onto the whitish eyeballs like a spiderweb. It looked horrifying. Qiao Zijin's fingernails had been digging at the wall. Qiaonan was so complacent and happy, right? She would just wait and see if Qiaonan's smile would still be as bright and clear as the sunshine a while later. With these thoughts in mind, Qiao Zijin took out the cell phone given to her by that person and dialed a number. You didn't forget about today's plan, right? I've already lured my mom over. I'm leaving the rest to you. Don't worry. As long as your mom is at the scene, leave the rest of the matters to me. That's great. Happy collaboration. Happy collaboration. After confirming this, Qiao Zijin then placed the cell phone back into her bag. It had been almost a year. She had not appeared in her father and Qiaonan's life during this period. Obviously, she had not disappeared. She only went to make herself stronger. Qiaonan wished to take part in the college entrance examination and become a university graduate. She must be dreaming. Qiao Dongliang, Qiaonan, and Xiqing were approaching Pingcheng High School. At this juncture, someone appeared at the junction of the main road. It was Ding Jiyi. Ding Jiyi, who had not appeared for 2 years, had become extremely haggard. The clothing on her was considered neat, but they had already been washed out badly. Most importantly, her previously rosy cheeks were now pale and yellowish. She had lost a lot of weight. At one glance, it was obvious that in comparison to life with Qiao Dongliang, she had not been living well during the past 2 years. At the sight of the heavy human and vehicle traffic at the main road, Ding Jiyi's heart was filled with fear and panic. She was not sure why. In particular, when those cars passed by her, Ding Jiyi felt suffocated. She felt so panicky that she had to clutch onto her chest. Her mouth was wide open, as if she was a fish that had to swim to the surface of the water to catch little mouthfuls of oxygen on the eve of a rainy day in June. Subconsciously, Ding Jiyi retracted her limbs that were already out on the zebra crossing and took a step back. At the sound of the sharp and piercing horns from the cars, Ding Jiyi frowned. She felt so uneasy that she wanted to turn and leave. She knew that Zijin did not do well in her studies and could at most be admitted to diploma studies. Moreover, she was not capable and could not earn enough to pay for Zijin's school fees. It was rare that someone was willing to buy their small courtyard in the quad. They could get as much money as they could with the sale to solve the current crisis first. The important thing now was to let Zijin smoothly complete these few years of studies. However, At this moment, seeing lines of vehicles that were as long as a dragon and the sound of the never-ending horns, Ding Jiyi felt so much panic that she could not stand properly. She felt like running away to a place that was relatively safer or with lesser vehicles. She did not understand. If the other party really wanted to buy their house, why would he need to arrange a meeting at this kind of place? What were his thoughts? Shouldn't they find a quieter place to discuss the sale and purchase of a house? Furthermore, this place was near to the school that the wretched girl was studying at. Come to think of it, that wretched girl was taking college entrance examination today. She would rather not bump into her. After settling the matter quickly, she would bring the money home as soon as possible and pass it to Zijin so that she could hand in the school fees. Ding Jiyi, who was lost in her own thoughts and was bent on avoiding Qiao Nan and Qiao Dongliang, did not seem to notice that a pair of hands had quietly moved behind her. Taking the opportunity as a crowd formed, this pair of hands simply gave her a hard push on her back in the split of a second. With this push, Ding Jiyi, who was already distracted, did not have the ability to resist at all. Her body lost control and fell toward the main road. Next, she heard sounds of worries and commotion on the crowded street. The screeching sounds of emergency brakes of the vehicles were tearing her emotions apart. It felt as though someone had scratched a fabric with scissors. Then, people started screaming, "Someone has been hit by a car. I didn't do it on purpose. It has nothing to do with me." This woman rushed out all of a sudden and fell onto the main road. "It's the green light and I was driving as per normal. It has nothing to do with me at all. She was the one who fell toward me. I'm innocent. Hello, don't tell me you're faking an accident to claim compensation. You're toying with your life." Chapter 758 Stealing of the Exam Admission Ticket. The driver who knocked Ding Jiyi down just felt that he had met with a sudden misfortune. He did not check the Chinese calendar when he left the house today and had thus encountered such an unlucky incident. Faking an accident to claim compensation? Sir, don't mess around. You're the one who knocked down this person and she's bleeding. If she wants to fake an accident to claim compensation, she will also not toy with her life in this way. Someone saw Ding Jiyi clutching her stomach as she lay on the ground. Blood was oozing from her mouth. He quickly realized the severity of the situation. Hurry, if anyone has a cell phone, please take it out immediately and dial 120 for an ambulance. I'll call the police. I'll call 120. Anyone? Does anyone know how to perform emergency first aid? This won't do. Due to the occurrence of this accident, many were in a panic. The traffic on the street was also in a big mess. There was a huge crowd that was impenetrable. What's happening? Coincidentally, the crowd was blocking Qiao Dongliang's way. Qiao Dongliang knitted his brows. Who doesn't know that it's the college entrance examination today? He's asking for trouble by blocking the way. Is this on purpose? I don't know. Shi Qing was stretching out her neck as if she was in for a good show. Qiao Nan took a sip of water. There's the college entrance examination today. At this time, the students who are taking the examination at Pingcheng High School most likely have not reached the school yet. Now, the road is congested so badly. How are students like us going to enter the school? The examination will not wait for us. Will the police take care of this? Shi Qing asked, sounding doubtful. One must know that she was also stuck at the area outside the entrance of the school. The situation seems to be quite serious. It's hard to say. Shi Qing, quickly give your dad a call. I'm afraid that even if the police really arrive, they may handle the car accident first and neglect the fact that we need to take the college entrance examination. There were specific timings for the college entrance examination that applied to everyone. One would not be allowed to enter the examination even if they were late for just 1 minute. Others could take it easy but not Qiao Nan. She dared not feel relaxed about it at all. Fine, I'll call my dad immediately and reflect the situation to him so that he can quickly settle this and send more people here. Upon hearing what Jiao Nan said, Shi Qing also started to pay attention to this matter and dared not delay any further. When Shi Qing returned after finishing the call, Jiao Dongliang started to move people away. Please excuse us. I have 2 students with me who need to take the college entrance examination urgently. I hope everyone can give way. Jiao Dongliang was a grown-up man and a former soldier. Hence, his physique was better than an ordinary person. Although he had met with a car accident previously, his health had recovered after 3 years of rest. However, in such a situation, Jiao Dongliang was still unable to make way and send Jiao Nan and Shi Qing into Pingcheng High School. Instead, he was pushed and bumped around by others. They could not proceed at all. They were not able to make their way through the crowd. At this moment, Jiao Dongliang's shirt had been pulled to the side and a button even fell off from it. He was full of sweat. Shi Qing and Jiao Nan were protected by Jiao Dongliang behind his back and were in a better state. Both their clothing and hair were not messed up, but they were also perspiring as much as Jiao Dongliang. Su Tingting, who had been feeling bored staying in school, happened to see this when she came out to take a breather. She was standing within the school compound and was initially stunned. When did so many people appear in front of the entrance of Pingcheng High School? It was as if everyone in Pingcheng came here. It was so dense and crowded. It was then that she saw Jiao Nan and Shi Qing stuck in the crowd, unable to move at all. They were in such an embarrassing state. Su Tingting, who had been hiding her tails for some time, could no longer control herself. The corners of her lips curled into a smile. She laughed. Her laughter was so complacent and blatant. Su Tingting narrowed her eyes and smiled. She seemed to be saying, Jiao Nan, why are you so proud? When everyone is obediently studying in school, you have to do something special to differentiate yourself from others and take a leave to revise at home. Is this your karma? After a few glances, Su Tingting rolled her eyes and returned to the building. She did not continue to study. She was staring in Jiao Nan's direction from afar and waiting for the examination to commence. If Jiao Nan could not enter the school and the examination hall due to the congestion, that would be interesting. Jiao Nan, who had been stuck outside, did not know Su Tingting's thoughts. She was having a headache. What should she do about the current situation? There was only one reason why she had wanted to go home to revise. Her dormitory mates were too nervous. All of them had to turn on their torchlights till 1 o'clock in the morning every day. Most importantly, they were not only studying by themselves. They would discuss if they were to meet with any doubt. Especially when they encountered a problem that they could not solve despite much thinking, they would wake Jiao Nan up and check with her. With this, Jiao Nan, who had ignored the 5 rays of torchlights, neglected the frequent discussions among her dormitory mates, and was sleeping soundly alone, could not take it anymore. She could only apply for leave to go home and revise. Given the circumstances today, the originally good plan of Jiao Nan had become a bad one. What are you doing? As Jiao Nan was having a headache, she could hear Shi Qing's shout from behind. Then, she heard a man screaming in pain. Jiao Nan turned her head and saw Shi Qing twist the man's arm behind his back strongly, looking sullen. She had a murderous look in her eyes and she was pursing her red lips with obvious anger. That man could neither take it nor retaliate and could only scream in pain. Speak. Who are you? What are you trying to do? Shi Qing was infuriated that the man did not explain himself besides screaming in pain. I've already caught you red-handed. Do you still think that you can escape? I'm just a passerby. There's an accident here and someone has been knocked down by a car. She vomited a lot of blood. I can't move out of the crowd too. I didn't do anything. That man refused to admit that he had done something bad. He stood by the guns that he was also stuck in the crowd and could not move at all. Shi Qing gave the man a hard kick in the knee without hesitation. I clearly saw you open the zip of Jiaonan's skull bag. You even reached your hand in. If I had not caught you, you would have stolen something. Do you believe that I'll send you to the police station? No. Don't. I didn't steal anything. You're talking nonsense. You're just a high school student and you're telling lies. Is that good? The man revealed a moment of panic in his eyes, but he calmed down very quickly thereafter. When Jiaonan heard what Shi Qing said, she was so scared that she moved her skull bag in front of her. When she looked down, her skull bag was unzipped by quite a fair bit. It was enough for a grown-up man to reach his hand into it. Jiaonan opened her skull bag and found that she had not lost anything. It was just that the position of her examination admission ticket had been moved. It was now nearer to the zip. In other words, if Shi Qing had not caught that man, Jiaonan would have lost her exam admission ticket. Nan, did you lose anything? Xiao Dongliang asked nervously. No. That's good. I didn't lose anything, but this is also stealing. We must send him to the police station. Chapter 759 directed at Jiaonan. Shi Qing was unwilling to let the man go. As a descendant of the soldiers, she could not stand people who stooped to stealing. Shi Qing, don't be impulsive. Right now, the most important thing is for you and Nan to. This person. Why not leave him to me? I will not let him get away. Once the two of you enter the school, I will bring him to the police station. What do you think? Nan and Shi Qing had to focus on getting to school and sitting for the college entrance examination. Nothing was more important than that. Shi Qing checked the time and nodded. All right, but it is best to find a rope to tie him up. I am afraid he will try to escape. Wait. Jiaonan took a step forward. We are not in our school uniform. How do you know that we are high school students? That's right, Shi Qing was stunned. When the thief maligned her for telling lies, he had indeed mentioned that she was a high school student. I didn't, the thief looked guilty. Jiaonan frowned and looked at Xiao Dongliang and Shi Qing. She then checked herself out. She looked serious and grim. Among the three of us, I am not as well dressed as her. Besides, my dad is an adult and he is standing in front of me. Under normal circumstances, you will not target people like us. Even if you really do, you should not be stealing from me. Since the child was with the parent, the child must not have any money with her. The money would be with the parent. Similarly, Shi Qing was more well dressed than her. Her clothes were of better quality than hers. If the thief felt that children were easy targets, he would be targeting Shi Qing, who was well dressed. She did not believe that the thief would not understand such simple logic. The thief became more and more flustered. He darted his eyes to a side and did not dare to meet Jiaonan's gaze. Jiaonan gritted her teeth. So your target is me and you are after my exam admission ticket. If the thief had not been caught by Shi Qing, she would have lost her exam admission ticket. In that case, even if she made it to school on time, without her exam admission ticket, she would have lost her right to sit for the college entrance examination. What? Shi Qing and Xiao Dongliang were shocked. They had thought that he was just like any other thief who wanted to take advantage of the crowd to steal money. They did not expect that the thief was after Jiaonan and her exam admission ticket. Since ancient times, people would steal money or valuables. No one would steal an exam admission ticket that was worthless to an outsider. Tell us, who sent you here? Shi Qing was no longer lenient to the thief. She kicked him in the stomach. How much money were you paid to beard the lion in his den? If I don't make sure that you behave, I am no longer called Shi Qing. Knowing that his daughter ran into trouble on the day of the college entrance examination, Shi Peng rushed to Pingcheng High School right away. This was not only because his daughter was sitting for the college entrance examination. It was also because many other students would be sitting for their college entrance examination at Pingcheng High School. Shi Peng had a sullen expression upon seeing that the street in front of Pingcheng High School was packed with people. Today is the college entrance examination. There are still many candidates who have not entered the school. Mobilize some people to direct the traffic. We have to ensure that the injured gets to the ambulance and all the candidates to enter the exam hall before the exam starts. Hurry. If it can't be done, we will get more cars to come. We must make sure that they make it in time for the exams. Even if we have to send them to school, we still have to do it. Yes, Director. Shi Peng's subordinates hurried to work. However, the street had been blocked for close to 8 minutes. It was impossible for them to clear the crowd immediately. The secretary knew that Shi Peng's daughter was among the exam candidates today. Director Shi, do you want to check where Xiqing is and find a way to send Xiqing to school first? Every child is the same. Qing is athletic and physically fit. If she wants to climb over the wall, it will be a much easier task to her than the average students. I have to take care of other children first. Shi Peng refused. He rushed to the scene right away after receiving the call from his daughter, as he was concerned for other candidates as well. As Shi Peng's daughter, Xiqing already knew that her father would not give her special treatment. Director, this won't do. The traffic jam is very serious. Notwithstanding sending the injured to the ambulance, the hospital staff cannot bring the stretcher to the scene of the accident. What should we do? I heard that the person who was hit by the car sustained serious injuries. There was a pool of blood on the road. If we don't send the injured to the hospital for emergency treatment, she may die due to loss of blood. The candidates sitting for the college entrance examination were important, and so was the life of the woman who was injured in the accident. There was something weird about today. Although there was a large population in Pingcheng, it was rare that all of them would be at the same place at the same time today. Today was the day the students would sit for their college entrance examinations. The current batch of third-year students and their parents might amount to a large number of people, but it would not result in such a big jam. It was as if there was a large-scale and exciting event ongoing which attracted the attention of all the people in Pingcheng. Could it be that every one of them came because of the event? As Shi Peng had said, there might be a huge crowd, but Xiqing had the capability to get herself into the school. Xiqing calmed herself down. She stretched her hand for Qiaonan to step on. You can come up first. We will make our way slowly to the wall and climb over it to get into the school. Given today's situation, I don't think it is possible to get in through the front gate. If Xiqing was by herself, she would have already slipped into the school. Are you sure it can be done? Qiaonan was physically weak. She had never tried to climb over the wall. All right, no matter what, we have to try it out. Yes, hurry up. Qiao Dongliang was drenched in sweat. He was anxious and worried. If they delayed any longer, Qiaonan might miss the college entrance examination. If he knew this would happen, he would have woken Nan Nan up earlier in the morning so that Nan Nan and Xiqing would arrive at school earlier. I haven't seen you for more than a year, and you seem to be quite agile. Qiao Zijin sneered. Qiaonan was frail and thin, but she seemed to be quite agile and fit. Qiaonan trailed behind Xiqing and made their way through the crowd and toward the external wall of Pingcheng High School. Today, I have squandered so much money and created this full-scale drama. It will be a pity if Qiaonan leaves like this. Don't be in a hurry. The best is yet to come. In fact, Qiao Zijin did not know the actual plan for today. The only thing that she knew was to get her mother to come to the school gate of Pingcheng High School at this timing while hiding in a corner, watching and monitoring as the events unfold. Qiao Zijin was not worried about Ding Jiyi, who was hit by a car and was lying on the road in a pool of blood. She had long known that there would be a car accident today, and the victim of the car accident would be Ding Jiyi. Chapter 760 Send Your Mother to the Hospital. but the man promised her that her mother would only sustain minor injuries. At the very least, it would not be life-threatening. The man would pay for all of her mother's hospitalization fees as well as Xiao Zaijian's second-year tuition fees. He would also spend money to hire someone to take care of Ding Jiyi, who had to stay in the hospital but had no one to take care of her when Xiao Zaijian was in school. He had settled everything for Xiao Zaijian, making sure that she would have no worries. Her mother did not need to work and she would be paid a sum of money. She was in the hospital and would have someone to take care of her. It was the dream life her mother had been yearning for. Even though she had yet to earn any money, she could help her mother realize her dream in advance. Since she helped her mother realize her dreams, what she wanted to do next was to realize her own dreams. There was only one student and one college student in the Qiao family, and that was Xiao Zaijian. There would never be another student named Xiao Nan. Xiao Nan and Shi Qing were still very far away from school. They tried to inch further when a hand grabbed Xiao Nan's school bag from behind. Xiao Nan was already halfway up the wall when she was pulled down by the person behind her. Nan, it's really you. No wonder I found you look familiar from the back. The situation is very serious here. Do you know that the traffic jam is due to a car accident? Xiao Nan's upper arm ached at the hard pull by the man behind her. She swallowed her anger and turned to check who was behind her. It was the uncle from the quad that they used to live in. Uncle, I know there is a car accident, but I am sorry. I'm sitting for the college entrance exam today. I have to go to school ahead of time to get ready. Can you let go of my hand? Someone was in an accident, but what did it have to do with her? This neighbor of hers was such a busybody. It was fine if he wanted to meddle in other people's affairs, but why did he pull at her when she had to sit for the college entrance examination today? Xiao Dongliang seemed to be angry. Excuse me, would you please let go? Nan is sitting for the college entrance examination, and there is no time to waste. As for the car accident, can we talk about it later? Xiao Dongliang was dying to send everyone in front of them flying to the ground so that Xiao Nan could enter the school. Unfortunately, he was not able to maneuver around all of them and send Xiao Nan to Pingcheng High School. Moreover, he had to keep a guard on the thief. There was nothing that he could do. Hey, old Xiao is here as well. I am foolish not to have recognized you. Old Xiao, Nan, do you know that the person who was knocked down by a car and is bleeding profusely is none other than Ding Jiyi? My mom. Xiao Nan widened her eyes in shock. That is impossible. My mom hasn't been back to Pingcheng for 2 years. She had no idea where her mother was staying now. Why would her mother turn up somewhere near Pingcheng High School all of a sudden? Nan, it is not right of you to say that. Today, you are sitting for your college entrance examination. Your mother cares about you. She must have come here to take a look. But man proposes, God disposes. She is only here to show her concern for you and to stay around while you sit for the college entrance examination. She did not expect that she would be hit by a car. Your mother has lost a lot of blood. She is placed on a stretcher and is about to be sent to the hospital. Why don't you go to the hospital with her? Given your mother's situation, she will need a lot of blood when she goes to the hospital. Your family's conditions are not good. Instead of piling a huge amount of debts, it's better that you go along to donate your blood to your mother. It will save a large sum of money and it is an act of filial piety as well. No. Xiao Dongliang was very surprised. He did not expect that the person who caused the traffic jam was actually Ding Jiyi, whom he had not seen for more than 2 years. However, notwithstanding the car accident, nothing was more important than Nan's college entrance examination. Nan, don't worry about anything. You should sit for the college entrance examination. If the person who is in an accident is really your mother, I will take care of it. Xiao Dongliang ground out the words between clenched teeth. Ding Jiyi had disappeared for 2 years. But when she appeared in front of them, it was to bring such a disaster to Nan Nan and him. She was indeed a source of trouble. If he knew this would happen, he would rather never see Ding Jiyi in his life again. He would not wish for her to appear in front of them again, be it unintentional or intentional, and to bring disaster to Jiaonan. Dad. She was not certain that her father would be able to deal with this matter. The person in the car accident was Ding Jiyi. After hearing this news, Jiaonan was full of trepidation. She felt as if it was 2 years back when she learned that Jiao Dongliang was in a car accident. Don't waste any more time. Jiaonan, we have to hurry up. Shi Qing shot a glance at the busybody. You have sharp eyes. The sun is up. Aren't you supposed to be at work? Why did you come to Pingcheng High School at this time? We don't even know what happened, yet you are so well informed and know that Jiaonan's mother is in a car accident. You even managed to squeeze through the crowd to where we are and recognize Jiaonan. It takes us so much effort and strength to move 1 to 2 meters in this big crowd. How did you manage to make your way through the crowd? Shi Qing did not know that her complaints had hit the nail on the head. The neighbor sweated profusely under her gaze. It was July and the sun was glaring. If not, one must be too nervous and have a guilty conscience to be drenched in sweat. Oh, the neighbor, who could not give an explanation, could only give a dry smile. Nan Nan, Shi Qing is right. The two of you have to hurry to school. I have not divorced your mother yet. I have to be in charge since she is in an accident. Jiao Dongliang gritted his teeth. He hoped for nothing but to push Jiaonan into the school and then settle Ding Jiyi's problems. The neighbor heard their conversation and grabbed Jiaonan's school bag. Old Jiao, don't be muddle-headed. This won't do. I heard that it's rare that husband and wife have the same blood type. But in general, children can donate their blood to their parents. Don't underestimate this issue. It will cost you a lot of money. You have raised Nan Nan to a big girl now. It's time for her to repay you. The college entrance examination is important, but her mother's life is more important. Even if you miss the college entrance examination this year, you can sit for it next year. If old Ding is gone, Nan Nan and Zijin will be without a mother and you will be without a wife. Hey, why are you being so obnoxious? Let go. Shi Qing slapped on the neighbor's hand that was grabbing onto Jiaonan's school bag. The neighbor felt a sharp pain shooting up his palm. But even so, he had a death grip on Jiaonan's school bag, refusing to let go. Jiaonan was displeased. What traffic accident was that? Why would there be such a huge crowd all of a sudden? Why would a thief go after my exam admission ticket? I think someone is out to stop me from sitting for the college entrance examination. I don't know who has so much money to spend just to stop me from taking the exam. But dream on.